Hello, John here, and today I am reviewing this N-Scale SD9 from Atlas. This sample is decorated as Southern Pacific 5399 in the Southern Pacific's unmistakable Black Widow paint scheme. If you're lucky, you can catch the real 5399 working on the Albany and Eastern Railroad, a Class 3 operation based out of Lebanon, Oregon. 5399 was delivered to Southern Pacific in the 1950s as part of an order of about 150 SD9s. It was renumbered to 3877 in 1965 when Southern Pacific renumbered all their SD9s. Once again, when it was rebuilt as an SD9E, it was renumbered to 4364 in the 1970s. It was renumbered one more time back to its original 5399 when the Albany and Eastern acquired it for short line service. Because of some of the prototype details I'll talk about later, this model would be most appropriate for a modern era layout depicting the Albany and Eastern. The MSRP for the DC version of this model is $124.95, and the DCC version is $159.95. My sample is the DCC version. This model came packed securely in your standard Atlas packaging, a nice jewel case with a hard foam insert and foam handrail spacers. Also in the box, a warranty sheet and two exploded view diagrams, one larger than the other. They're both mostly the same, so I'm not sure why it came with two, but that's what it came with. The paint on the model looks really good. The black base is opaque and the separation lines for the silver and orange striping are clean. The separation between the black and red striping near the sill is slightly fuzzy in places, but you can't really tell without a lot of magnification. There's not a lot of additional writing on the black base, but what's there is legible with magnification. It also has this logo. It's not legible, nor does it appear on the 5399 as it is today. The fuel tank is accurate, and it has molded air reservoir detail, as well as accurate red highlighting. Atlas doesn't specify on the website exactly which version this model is intended to represent. If it's supposed to represent 5399 as it is today, some of the details like the dual horn and the logo I just mentioned are incorrect. If it's supposed to be as delivered, the silver trucks are wrong. It also has the X in the number boards, which is how it appears today. The most noticeable discrepancy would be that both ends lack the SP light package that should be on it regardless of the era. All these things lead me to believe that this is one of those models that was made just one way and then multi-purposed with several different paint schemes so that Atlas can provide something to as many modelers with as many different interests as possible with just one mold. If that's the case, one of the versions of this model is accurate to a prototype, just not this one. The front end has molded air hose detail on the pilot and a molded ladder on the engineer's side. It's missing a similar ladder on the fireman's side that's on the prototype photos of the 5399 as it appears today. The model has dual headlights, but like I said before, the rest of the SP light package is not present. These headlights on the model are in the place where the gyro light should be. The headlights on the prototype are positioned lower than they are on the face of the model. And there's also a red emergency light that protrudes a lot like the gyro light, and it's positioned above the cab on the real locomotive. The rear of the model has similar detail, including one ladder on each side, which is correct, but it also lacks the SP light package. The body-mounted Accumate couplers on both ends are low when compared against my Microtrains height gauge. The one on the rear end is especially low. Even though the fans are molded, they still look like a pretty good representation of what's on the prototype. I'm still wondering about the dual horn arrangement, but they look pretty cool in any case. The bottom of the model has very little detail, which is consistent with most N-scale diesel offerings. All the wheels are in gauge. The model weighs 2.5 ounces and registers half an ounce of pulling power on the force gauge. The locomotive runs really well with very little motor noise. It has really great low-speed control as well. The lights are directional and have a nice golden white look to them. Unfortunately, there's a lot of light leakage around the number boards, especially in the back. I took the shell off to show you something I think is pretty cool about high hood units like this. Atlas uses the same frame for their high hood and low hood models, so the metal frame offers a lot of space, relatively speaking, for a speaker in the part that's covered by the high hood. You can bet I'll be making a video about adding sound to this model and correcting the light leaks sometime in the future. This is a pretty cool looking model that runs really well. I have to take a spike off for the incorrect coupler height. I'm also going to take a spike off for the light leaks in the number boards. I'm also going to hesitantly take a spike off for the prototype inaccuracy. My final verdict is a qualified 7 of 10 spikes. But before you go, I want to explain this qualification thing in the spike rating. I've mentioned before that I am not a hardcore rivet counter. I think this model does a pretty good job of looking like an SD9, and I love the Black Widow paint scheme. That being said, even though I don't really care a lot about the absence of the SP light packages, it was the first thing I noticed about this model, simply because Southern Pacific locomotives always had those funky light packages, and it's a huge part of what makes an SP locomotive look like an SP locomotive. So it bugs me a bit, but like I said before, it still looks cool. To their credit, Atlas is not representing this as some super detailed and highly accurate model. If they built it that way, I wouldn't hesitate to take a spike for the details. I'd actually even enjoy it. I might even take 2 spikes off because adding an SP light package to both ends is not a small task. You can decide how important that is to you. I think for $160, and considering that the model comes with DCC already installed, I think it's a pretty good value. If you're a hardcore detail guy who really does not want to make the modifications, you might just pass on this one. For everyone else, though, who loves the paint scheme and isn't as picky, the good news is that it runs exceptionally well, and it still looks really cool. Please subscribe for more content like this, and let me know if you liked the video by hitting the thumbs up button and commenting below. Thanks for watching, and make it a great day.